Boruto's Jougan timeline is a difficult concept to grasp, and not because it's going to be a complicated power or anything like that, it's because of the lack of depth behind its origins. Now, we talked about the Jougan a lot on this channel, its potential abilities, when it could possibly awaken. You can even find videos of me studying the origins behind it to prove that it actually does exist. But that's not really the focus of this video. At least that's not my goal. My focus for this video is more on Kashin Koji and his potential role in Boruto awakening such power, because I think his power and influence surpasses surface level thinking. Now, of course, before we get into the video, go ahead and like the video and drop a hype so we can reach an even wider audience of like-minded Boruto fans. But now then, let's hop into it. So Kashin Koji has been an avid character in Boruto's life. When he first seeked him out, it wasn't because of mere coincidence, it was all because of prescience, because of the power of prescience. Koji was essentially able to bypass the effects of omnipotence. And while I say that, I can confirm that Koji is still affected by it. But prescience showed him the truth. It literally showed him Kawaki and Ada casting omnipotence over the world so that Boruto and Kawaki would switch places. Now, of course, omnipotence is wired so your brain would deny the truth. But I believe Koji is more of an outlier because of his power from an otsutsuki god. And even if he was affected and believed that Boruto unalived the 7th Hokage, that still doesn't change the fact that he needs Boruto to save the planet. Prescience has showed him that multiple times, and throughout the course of the story, he's mentioned that Boruto was the key to defeating the Shinju and saving the planet multiple times. And he knows it's Boruto that has to do it and not Kawaki, because we can see faces in these visions. That's what separates him from literally everyone else on Earth. He's not going off of memory with this information. It's real reliable foresight he's getting with actual proof to back it up. So of course he knows that Boruto is actually the real son of Naruto and not Kawaki. And the whole thing with omnipotence is that it literally forces your brain to factory reset over time to go back to believing what it wants you to believe. That's why more recently, the one who was shown to start forgetting some facts about the truth was Shikamaru. Omnipotence forced his brain to start forgetting these key facts. This can't happen to Koji. And do you know why? It's because of him constantly getting new updates on the future based on his foresight ability. He gets these updates weekly, so that keeps his memories fresh. He'll always know the truth no matter what omnipotence does to his cognition. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure you can all say that Koji knows everything about Boruto and what's going to happen to him from here on out. If he will defeat Jiraiya, his final conflict with Kawaki, even how he will eventually die. Yeah, he can see that far into the future. When he first got his new batch of foresight visions, he was able to see the Shinju, and we know they didn't appear until 3 years after his initial Shinjutsu awakening. He was even able to see far enough into the future to where he was able to teach Boruto all the moves and jutsu he developed throughout his life. This accounts for techniques like his own variation of the Flying Thunder God, and of course, the one and only Rasengan Uzuhiko. So the most notable use of Kashin Koji's prescience power is the ability to change futures and alter timelines. That's what he mainly uses this power to do. Every future is not good or ideal to what they're trying to accomplish, right? So every time Koji sees a future he likes or dislikes, he does things or doesn't do things to either move forward or away from that specific future. Like the number one future he's trying to avoid is Boruto being unalived by Jiraiya. If this happens, the odds of them saving the future goes down to completely zero. I know it sounds crazy, but even now with Boruto alive, their odds still might be zero or near zero. Definitely under 50%. Going back to before the Tsunagakure arc commenced, Koji asked Shikamaru to not provoke Jiraiya, because if he does, just know that the odds of them defeating him are completely zero. Now, a lot has happened since then, right? So I won't say it's the same now. Boruto made a deal with the devil for more power, essentially, and Kawaki has gotten more buffs. And oh yeah, Boruto has gotten a new sword. So both of these main characters are leagues stronger than they were before. But if Koji felt like that was enough, he would have been tried to make a move by now. Or would he? The truth of the matter is, whenever Koji gets a new prescience vision, whenever that is, he'll probably see if Boruto and Kawaki has accumulated enough power to take down Jiraiya. But I'm pretty confident that they might not be as close as they think they are, especially since the odds they win were completely zero 19 chapters ago. So that's really confusing. I think at the most, they have at least a 40% chance now. But knowing Koji, he probably wouldn't want to go into battle with anything less than a 70% chance of winning. Maybe 80, knowing what's all at stake. So there has to be something key that he is waiting for, a future that he's trying to get to that will offer him the most opportunity to be able to take down Jura. There's been much speculation around the community that ever since Koji has gotten his new power, he's known about the Jougan dojutsu, and that it has a chance for it to awaken in Boruto. Now there's not a 100% chance that it happens, that's why he does what he does now. It's all a part of a bigger plan for Boruto to awaken his power that yields a way better chance they save the planet. Now many of you have been asking yourselves, if he knows about this power, then why doesn't he simply tell Boruto about it? Or at least mention it? And that's a very simple question to answer. It's because him knowing about it will do more bad than good. It actually makes sense that it hasn't even been hinted at before, because the only person who knows about it is Koji. Why do you think Koji didn't tell Boruto about Sarada's MS awakening? Or even that it was going to play a factor on if they defeated Ryu or not? It's because he knew if Boruto got too much involved in this plan, odds are it probably wouldn't have happened. Remember the key phrase, to know the future leads to the act of destroying it. Let's just say, for example, right? There was a 37% chance that Sarada awakened her Mangekyo in Tsunagakure, and the reason the odds were so low was because in this future, Boruto went to Tsunagakure way earlier than he was supposed to go. This makes it so Yodo doesn't die, which obviously was the trigger for her to awaken this power. Actually, in this future, instead of Yodo dying, I'm pretty sure they all might die. Because with Boruto going to Tsunagakure early, that means Jura makes a move sooner. And guess what? With Ryu, Jura, and Matsuri still alive, that would result in a future much worse than initially. So that means Konohamaru dies, and also Ryu and Jura joined forces against Sarada, Boruto, and the rest. Kawaki probably still joins in, but just because Boruto went to Tsunagakure early, that doesn't change the fact that Kawaki is still late. So does Kawaki make it there early enough to help defeat Ryu and Jura, or even hold them back? And would the future go how it was supposed to? Would Sarada still awaken her MS? Probably not. So it's very important the future goes how it's originally supposed to go for certain things to happen. Because since Boruto did not interfere with the plan, the odds Sarada awoken her MS shot up to 84%, hypothetically. So Yodo's death was really necessary for it to happen. Now Boruto asked him was there a chance that Sarada awoken her MS and Yodo still got to live? And the answer to that question is yes. But at the same time, if he went that route, it wouldn't have offered them the same percentages. So maybe if Yodo lives, the best future they could get from that is a future that offered only 62% of Sarada awakening her inner power. And we can all agree that 84% intrigues me way more than 62%. So let's apply that same logic to Boruto's Jougan awakening, because I believe things will go very similarly to that situation. Now, like I explained before, there are numerous of futures where he awakens it, but only specific futures offer him the best odds to do it. And as I said before, when we take into account of what's at stake, we're only interested in the best possible chance of Boruto getting the Jougan. So if Boruto has knowledge of this future occurring, it might not happen. Because like Sarada, the awakening of the Jougan could be trauma induced, meaning Boruto will have to go through a specific situation for it to happen. And if he's already prepared and accepted whatever is going to happen, then it might not induce enough shock in him for the awakening to trigger. Like, it's the initial shock that causes Uchiha to awaken their Mangekyo Sharingan, even the regular Sharingan. If some of these characters like Sasuke or even Itachi was prepared and knew what kind of trauma was going to cause them to awaken their Mangekyo Sharingan, the odds of that moment being the catalyst to them awakening it would decrease. Although I will say, you definitely have your outliers where this might not apply as much. Like for example, if Obito knew that Rin was going to die by Kakashi's hand several months before it happened, it probably wouldn't change the odds of him awakening the MS in that moment, because the shock would still be enough to get his emotions to that point of him awakening it. But history shows that letting someone go through a traumatic event naturally and organically is the best way to encourage a new power awakening in certain characters. So that's what Koji is trying to do right now. It's a harsh thing to do, but it probably needs to happen if Boruto will save the future. And looking at it now from that standpoint, Kashin Koji is the perfect person for that job. And Ikemoto is constantly trying to show us that through his heartlessness, quote unquote. At first, he was willing to sacrifice Yodo to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan in Sarada, and he was even willing to let Konohamaru die. Actually no, I'm missing something. The first time Koji truly showed his heartlessness was by killing off Aoi after his loss to Team 7. Then later on, he insinuated that Boruto might need to unalive Kawaki because of him being a liability. And then we can move on to the more recent parts of Two Blue Vortex, especially the time when Koji wanted Inojin to make Lord Kobu commit. Now, me personally, I feel like that was the craziest one, but it showed how far he's willing to go to make it to the best possible future. And not many people will agree, but you need someone like that when you're trying to do something so challenging as saving the future and defeating an all-powerful Divine Tree monster. There will be sacrifices that will need to be made, so they need an extra strong person to step in and be able to make those decisions. The only challenging part about Koji's role is to not get consumed by your heartlessness to the point where you don't even try to save a life when it's necessary, even though doing so might be a little bit harder than just letting them die. So it can be beneficial to be stern, and sometimes a little heartless, but don't let it consume you to the point where it becomes your whole identity and a part of who you are as a person. So if Koji was to have this big master plan for Boruto to awaken this hidden god power, odds are he might be willing to sacrifice anyone to ensure it happens, because he knows it could yield a high possibility of Boruto saving everyone. But the only downside to this is Boruto finding out, because he will definitely hate Koji even more for it. And I say even more because it looks like they don't even get along all too much now. Now, it's hard pressed to say Boruto hates him, because hate is a strong word, so I'll say he's indifferent about him, and maybe a little skeptical. And this feeling stemmed from Koji doing the exact same thing he plans to do for Boruto to awaken the Jougan, being heartless. But Koji is the only one that could do it. He has all the tools. It's almost like he was chosen by the gods to play this exact role in time. Now, my question to you is, what will be this traumatic event that will lead Boruto to awakening the Jougan? Is it the death of a loved one, Sarada, Himawari, or even Sasuke? Or could it be something a bit more unexpected and complicated? Maybe something involving the exploitation of his current circumstances, aka Momoshiki, and the fact that he's 100% Otsutsuki. I want to hear what you all have to say about it, so make sure you drop all your thoughts and ideas down below in the comment section. And without further ado, if you all enjoyed this video and don't mind seeing more like this in the near future, go ahead and like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on them post notifications so you know whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until next time, I'll see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.